Good evening. My name's Julie Haskett. I'm the Senior Manager of Corporate Communications at Chugach Electric. Thanks for coming to our Girdwood community meeting to talk about our vegetation plan and our clearing for Girdwood this summer. We have a crew with us tonight. I'm going to introduce everybody. If you could just raise your hand. Andrew Laughlin, who's the Chief Operating Officer at Chugach. Luke Slyman, who's the Vice President of Field Operations. I have Tim Pryor, the Senior Manager of Operations, and Sean Honeman, also Manager in Operations. And then from Carlos Tree Service, who is our contractor, we have Dale Carlos himself, Heather Henderson, who works with Dale, and Jay Wurst, who is one of the field managers, I believe. Is that an adequate? And we are recording this meeting tonight because we know Girdwood residents are out and about on this beautiful summer night. So we're going to make it available on the Chugach YouTube channel via our website, and we will let folks know when this meeting is available to watch. Okay, tonight on the agenda, we're going to discuss our vegetation management, what it means and why we're doing it, the outage statistics. We're going to look at the outage statistics in Girdwood and the changes we're expecting for the outage statistics after the clearing work this summer. We're going to talk about danger trees. We're going to define them, discuss how to report them, and let you know what to expect in the process. We're going to talk about the Girdwood scope of work for this summer, define how we make decisions on clearing. There are many factors we consider when we conduct our right-of-way clearing, and then we're going to talk about some of the communications that we have done to get your attention, to make sure you know that what we're up to. Vegetation management. Chugach Electric's mission is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable electricity to all the communities we serve. In Girdwood, we're working to decrease the outages and improve safety and reliability by addressing one of the most common causes of power outages, which is trees hitting the power line. We realize in Girdwood that we have way more outages than we should, and we're working on doing something about that. You're scheduled for our clearing cycle this summer. We clear roughly every 3 years. We clear our entire system year-round, but it's Girdwood's turn this summer. We're using our vegetation management plan to guide us in the easements, get rid of the danger trees, and to reduce, as we've said, one of the most common causes of outages, which is trees. At the end of the clearing cycle, we expect fewer and shorter outages and better overall reliability. In addition to the cycle, why do we do this? Well, Girdwood has some pretty high outage statistics. I'm going to give you a very high-level summary. As a community, you have over 2 million outage minutes for the past, I think, year. But Andrew, our Chief Operating Officer, is going to explain a little bit what's behind those statistics, so he's going to come up for a minute.
Okay, so we have a few outage metrics we track, of course, and that helps inform what we do as far as clearing capital projects that we work on. And so every year we gather all these stats and we put them together and make decisions based off of those. And so as Julie said, you have a large number of outage minutes for the community of Girdwood, and that is basically if a meter is out for 10 minutes, then that's the number of minutes that meter was out. If it's 10 meters for 10 minutes, that's 100 outage minutes. And you can see those broken down in that pie chart up there on the left side of the screen. And really the big takeaway from this is that when you look at all of the outages that Girdwood experienced over the last year, almost half of them, in that pink shaded section there, are the outages caused by trees. So that means about half of your outages are tree related, and that's what we're here to improve on this summer. So there's a couple other metrics we use to track how well the system is performing based on that. One is called SAIDI, or System Average Interruption Duration Index, and that's basically for a system, how long can you anticipate an outage to last if you're a consumer in that system. And the other one is called CAIDI, which is the Customer Average Interruption Duration Index, which is essentially our restoration time, how long it takes us to respond and get somebody back in service. So when you look at the bar chart on the right side, you can see the dark blue is the Chugach system average for what the average consumer would expect to experience outage-wise in a given year or last year. So the SAIDI number was about a little less than 200 minutes for Chugach as a system-wide for any consumer. Girdwood is somewhere around 1,600, which is about 8 times what the average Chugach consumer experiences. And then on the charts on the bars on the far right side is that response time. So you can see Chugach is about what is that, about 160 or so minutes, and then to live in Girdwood, it's about another 40-minute drive, so about 200 minutes. So that's really the difference between the rest of the system and Girdwood. So as you can see, if you live in Girdwood, a lot of your outages are caused by trees, and in about 8 times as often as the rest of the system. So that's really one of the reasons why we're down here, is to help you understand, to tell you what we're looking at and what we're seeing through the data and the metrics we're collecting on an annual basis. So.
One of the things we want to talk about next is danger trees. Typically, they're trees that are outside of our easement that fall for various reasons into the easement and sometimes onto power lines. We call them danger trees because they're structurally unsound and likely to contact our lines. That's an important distinction, because in order to qualify as a danger tree that Chugach will take care of, it has to pose a risk to our facilities. If you think you have a danger tree, please mark it with paint or flagging tape, and then report it through our danger tree hotline, which we're going to have the number here at the end, or we also have an online reporting tool on our website. Danger trees are also reported by our crews when they're out in the field clearing, and they will also note them when they're within the easement and identify possible hazards. After a danger tree is reported, we send an arborist out to evaluate the tree. If it qualifies to be taken down, for Chugach to take care of it, and it's outside the easement, you have to actually sign a document that gives us permission to take it down, because it's outside of the easement, but it is a danger tree. So if we agree on that, to take it out, and you sign the form, then we can take it down outside the easement. If you don't sign it, then we don't take it down, and it remains a danger tree that we're going to worry about contacting the lines. The scope of work of our clearing. So what we typically like to do in clearing is edge to edge in the easement, which is 20 feet. It's 10 feet each side of the center line. And we like to go ground to sky. But we know when people hear that phrase, they're like, what? You're taking out my entire tree? So we're working with consumers where we can, when there's a real desire, if you will, to keep a tree from not being taken out ground to sky. Once we've identified the danger trees, we'll send a crew out to bring them safely to the ground. If the danger tree work is done before the actual clearing, the crew will pull the debris into the easement and process it later. Our clearing crews try to come out right after the danger trees have been taken down. Previously, top trees, you've seen some top trees around your community in the easement, may be removed so that we can have a safe work zone for our employees and for our contractors. Clearing and danger trees, debris is processed in the easement, leaving a fire-resistant layer of mulch. We don't leave mulch on your lawn or in your driveway, on your landscape trees or areas. We put it in the easement. And in wooded areas, we may scatter the slash around. That's basically a wildfire prevention tactic that helps reduce the fuel load. So again, the goal is 20 feet on either side of the center, or of the full easement, ground to sky, but that's not going to happen in all instances. So how do we make those decisions? I was realizing, I was looking at this slide earlier, this is not in order of importance. This is just in an order, because if I had to choose one, I would say fire danger, and I'd put that right on the top. But I'm going to go through the order of which the criteria are listed. We do a phased approach. We're looking toward getting to ground to sky. That is our goal over time. If not this clearing cycle, maybe next time. That's what we want to do on our distribution lines. What's the impact to the community? We want to protect your private life, what you have in your yard and your home, from public view in some high traffic areas, so we do look at that. Road or reasonable access. We have to provide access from at least one side of the right-of-way from a major road. Our crews have to be able to get in there, so we're going to look at getting at least one side of the right-of-way. Appropriate species. There's some fast-growing trees that we are more likely to want to take down because they're going to grow into the lines before we get back 3 years from now. So we're more likely to leave a slow-growing tree and go after the fast-growing trees, the species. Reliability and infrastructure. We have to protect the Chugach facilities from trees falling on the lines and causing damage to equipment and increasing the restoration times. And then, as I said, fire danger. That and the safety of our crews have to be at the very top of the list. One of the main objectives of clearing, besides reliability, is to reduce fire danger. Like on the hillside in Anchorage right now, we're clearing, as you know, there's acres and acres of dead spruce trees, and that's high fire danger. Adequate access we talked about, provide a safe route to and access to each pole so our linemen can get in there. And then it's what we call line of sight. Can they see down the right-of-way? Can they look for what they're going to go in and do? When there's heavy vegetation, they can't get a line of sight, and it increases their time getting in there. It increases the restoration time, and it can also make it less safe for the crews in the field when they can't get through because there's so much vegetation. Some communications that have gone out. You should have gotten a letter from Carlos Tree Service, who's our contractor. I have one here that told you that we were going to be clearing in your area this summer. Then a postcard is going to go out, is that correct, Heather? Shortly after this meeting, telling you when it's your area. Is that correct? Which areas are going to be cleared? Okay. And then if you do have a danger tree, we hang this on your door. It talks about that we have identified danger trees, or you've identified them and called us out, and we'd like you to, again, sign it. So Carlos has this great service. They will deliver free wood chips to you. The wood chips produced during easement clearing break down quickly into a thick layer of mulch that's fire-resistant and holds in moisture. Loads are up to 20 cubic yards and may include branches, leaves, or other debris from easement clearing. Prepare your delivery site. It needs to be at least 8 foot wide by 15 foot long, accessible between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., away from overhead lines and tree branches. You can see all the specifics here. And they are interested in delivering them to you. If you're interested, you can set up a delivery site, make sure it's accessible, and then Carlos will work with you to get it delivered. Be kind to your neighbors and make sure your delivery site doesn't block the street or bike path or anyone else's driveway or cars, and keep that site free of obstacles or mark it with a cone, flagging tape, weighted down tarp, anything that's highly visible. So if you call the number 522-6049 or use the online contact form for Carlos, you'll be able to sign up for the chip delivery system. So what other questions do you have while we're here and you're here? We're going to have several crews, and we have 30 miles of right-of-way is in Girdwood. So our goal... 30 miles? Is that correct? Yes. Yeah, 30 miles of right-of-way in Girdwood. Our goal is to get it all cleared this summer. So there will be multiple crews working at once.
Yeah, we'll be starting up by the Alyeska Hotel. We'll be starting on the north side of Alyeska Highway. Then we'll cross over to the south side over by Timberline. And then we'll work back down towards the highway, Alyeska Highway, all the way out to the freeway there. Yeah, I would say we've probably got about 70 to 80% of the right-of-way is cleared to specs, which is 10 and 10 each side of the pole, ground to sky. There's areas that we've skipped around and we've left trees trimmed, and we're trying to remove those. We're trying to get everything cleared in the right-of-way so we can access it, the linemen can get to it if they need to. But it'll be on a case-by-case basis. So a lot of folks won't notice anything different this cycle than they did last year, but we will be aggressive and try to identify more of the danger trees, the big cottonwoods that tend to break on us, some of the hemlocks that are older. If we see any defects in them, we'll want to notify everybody and let you know that those trees would qualify and probably should come down.
I wanted to add a little bit about what Dale said about the trees that have been getting haircuts. We would like to get some of those out of there because the haircuts are no longer really adequate. But we will be sensitive to visual. We don't want to completely remove a privacy barrier. But there may be some situations where people are like, oh, that tree's gone now. So I just don't want people to be surprised by that. But I think what Dale said is for the most part, not a lot will change. But we at Chugach feel like the outage statistics are unacceptable down here, and you should too at 2 million minutes for your community. We want the restorations time faster. We want our guys safe. So, in a perfect world, if we had it our way, we'd do ground to sky everywhere, but we understand that's not acceptable in a lot of areas. So we're working with the communities. Each cycle, we want to do a little bit more. So I hope that makes sense. Our goal, again, is safe, reliable, affordable electricity. We want to reduce your outage statistics. We want everyone to be safe when they're responding to outages, and we want the public to be safe too. So we're eager to move forward this summer on the clearing and looking forward to working with the Girdwood residents on doing it well and safely. So thank you for coming tonight.